Sabbath peace.
Sabbath peace.
It's another opportunity. You sleep, boy. It's another opportunity for us to hear and learn of the word of truth that's given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast, and given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if you do not obey him, it is made manifest or made obvious that you do not believe. In this state, you should expect no good thing from the Most High. However, anything that you do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that you may have, it can and it will be used against you in the day of judgment. With that said, peace to the saints that are in the room, to the saints that couldn't make it, to the saints watching in on the camera, but no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent that they might live. Amen. Let's go to Genesis chapter 20. All right, so last week we talked a little bit about the prophecy coming to Abraham, and this time it came a lot more clear than it had come before. So if we started off in Genesis chapter 12, Genesis chapter 12 told us, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna make you a great nation, right? Abraham don't have no real details around that. It's like, okay, well, maybe you'll put a lot of people around me and I'll be the king. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Don't necessarily mean that I'm going to have children that will then become a great nation. You know what I'm saying? Who knows how that's going to play out? Then Genesis chapter 15 come along and it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to grow you. You're going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like the sand on the seashore. Then he's like, all right, for sure. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Then Genesis 17 come along. He's like, yeah, no, I'm going to give you a kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you a baby. You're going to have a baby. Right? Then he's looking like, all right, well, I got to make this happen. He go have a baby, you know what I'm saying, by the handmaiden and all that. Remember, Sarah came and she was like, you know what I'm saying, here, take my handmaiden, take my servant and have a baby by her. You know what I'm saying? She's under my custody, my responsibility. Therefore, if she have a baby, that's my baby too. So have a baby, you know what I'm saying, through her for me. You know what I'm saying? And that happens. Abraham, you know what I'm saying, that thing didn't turn out the right way. He had his kid, but then immediately there was tension between the two women. You know what I'm saying? And then the Most High God came later and was like, no. I'm going to give you a baby, and it's going to come out of Sarah. And Abraham laughed at it. He was like, man, what in the world? Like, nah, man, we this old. You think you're going to give us a baby? Just deal with the son I already got. The son you already gave me. Most High God was like, nah, he's going to be good too. But I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about Sarah, right? So then after that, the three men came and checked Abraham out. And we kind of talked about it like Abraham didn't even believe that he and his wife, after the Most High God told him clearly that his wife would be the one who had a baby, he didn't even believe it, right? He laughed at it, in fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, is it really going to be possible for me at this age and my wife at her age to have a baby? That don't make no darn sense. He didn't believe it. That didn't stop the Most High God from giving the promise. The Most High God didn't take that promise back. And it's important that we see that because the fruit that in his life didn't come from him believing necessarily what God was going to do for him in a way that he couldn't explain how he was going to do it.
What's possible or impossible.
Yeah, his that's a better way to put it. It wasn't that he believed in what's possible or impossible for God. What grounds him in God and what caused the Most High God to continue to move forward with his promise with him is his obedience to God. The fact that when the Most High God popped up in chapter 12 and like, yo, come on up out of there and come over here. He just moved. Right? Book ain't say nothing about him arguing, fighting nobody, trying to make it. He just moved. That's it. All right, I got to go. That's it. That's the attitude we got to have for God. When it's time to get something done for God, like when we read it, I ain't talking about these Christians to take that and be like, God just told me I need to go buy that car. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know how they, like, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about with the book. When you open up that book, you remember when we first start reading the book and we start reading the Sabbath? It was like, that kind of sounds like it's still in effect. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm reading it, it kind of sounds like it's still in effect. And so we had to make a decision like, all right, we just got to move. It say stop doing this. It say stop doing that. That's what it say. We just got to move. Even if we didn't understand the full context or anything, I understand what it just said to me. I don't understand what happened later. I don't understand everything in the book. I understand this instruction though. Right? That's the mindset you have to have, because that's the mindset that the Most High God blesses. Right? I tell you to do something and you do it. That's it. You don't ask no questions. You just trying to make it happen. You do it. So we confirmed that last week, because the three men, one of them being Yahuwah, the three men came and they visited. And then after that, they went to Sodom and Gomorrah. But if you remember, before they went to Sodom and Gomorrah, after they visited, before they went to Sodom and Gomorrah, they spoke to Abraham, right? And the Most High God asked, he is like, man, look, should I keep from Abraham all the things that I'm about to do? Who remembers the reason that he said he wasn't going to keep it from him?
He said, I already know Abraham going to do everything I command him.
He said, I already know he going to command his kids and the nation that comes from them to do everything I tell them to do. That's what the Most High God respects. You can think, man, it's impossible. Most High God, it ain't no way for the Most High God to get me out of this situation. But you know what? I'm just going to do what he say. My son's sick, man. Ain't no way. I wish my son, but ain't no way he going to be healed, man. It's cancer. But you know what? I'm going to keep obeying. And when you live like that, the Most High God going to take care of it, because that's what you want. You his at that point. I'm going to take care of it just because that's what you want. It ain't based off of what you think is possible. It just, and then once you live like that, then you start to realize, even if you don't know, you start to realize God gonna show you all things are possible. That's what Abraham is learning, right? He never had to learn how to obey. He's just like, no, that's it. I'm doing that. I ain't got to learn that all things are possible for me to obey. I'm going to obey just because that's just what I'm going to do. This is God we're talking about, right? He had that reverence for the man, right? But then he's now learning like, man, that's crazy. Man, I'm old, you know what I'm saying? Are you really about to give me a son? Okay. Now you start to realize, oh, it ain't nothing that this man can't do. All things are possible for this man, right? And then that's what makes the faith complete. And that's kind of how we about to kind of see this thing grow, right? You're going to see a continuation of this adherence to everything the Most High God explains to him and tells him to do, right? There's nothing that we look at in this book that the Most High God told Abraham to do that he didn't do, that he was steady on, just like, oh man, well maybe I'll get to it later. He wasn't slack. He got to it. Like as soon as he said do it, boom, let's do it. That's what we're going to look at. It's Genesis chapter 20. Watch this.
And Abraham journeyed from there toward the south country and dwelled between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said to Sarah his wife, she is my sister. And
look, so he said of Sarah his wife, she is my sister. Right? So what we got here? Let's go back to Genesis, 13? Try Genesis 13 for me. If it ain't 13,
if Sarah was 100 and the king was like, yo, what's up with her? You know, that's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's how I go.
She 100? I thought she was 30.
Black don't crack. That's the original black too. There ain't no telling what it was looking like back then.
Yeah, buddy. 13 is a lot. Yeah.
Is what?
Talking about Lot and Abram, and it was like, yo, you go over here and I'll go over here. And all you, man. Genesis 13.
Give me like verse 15.
For all the land which you see, to thee will I give
that ain't
it.
what I want. 13, 14, 15 maybe? No, it ain't 15.
Nah,
It can't be 15. Give me 12 then. What's 12 say? What's 12 verse maybe 15?
Let's see, it might be in 12. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended
that's
her
it.
before Pharaoh.
That's what I want. Start me at the beginning of that. Not at the beginning of 12 though. What verse I want?
And there was a famine in the land. Verse 10.
All right, this is verse 10. Yeah. This is Genesis chapter 12 verse 10. Watch what the book say.
And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there.
Right? So Abram was in the land of Canaan. he went down south into Egypt because he wanted to sojourn. He wanted to sojourn just mean you visiting, right? So he wanted to be a visitor in Egypt because there was a famine in Canaan, right? Egypt got it popping. I'm about to go down to Egypt and I'm about to hang out. Watch this.
For their famine was grievous in the land.
Uh-huh.
And it came to pass when he was come near to enter into Egypt that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that you are a fair woman to look upon.
He said, listen, I know you look good. You know what I'm talking about? I know you look good. I know everybody gonna want a little piece. You know what I'm talking about? Guess what? Go ahead.
Therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save you alive.
Right? He's saying, listen, they gonna mess around and kill me, right? To save you alive. Therefore what?
Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee.
He said, look, just tell these people that I'm your brother. Right? Just tell them I'm your brother. Tell them that you my sister. Therefore, for my sake, I'll be well. My soul will be saved. If you tell them I'm your brother, my soul is saved. If not, they gonna kill me, you know what I'm saying, and you gonna be saved. Right? We both be saved if you just tell them that I'm your brother. Let's see, keep going.
And it came to pass that when Abram was coming to Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was very fair. Mm-hmm. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house.
Uh-huh.
And he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen and donkeys and men servants and maid servants and she donkeys and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife.
So Abraham walk his butt in this people's land and get their butt right in trouble. He tell them, listen, just say I'm your brother, right? So in that case, she's fair game. Pharaoh see her, he like what he see. He like, man, come over here. He try to get it on, and guess what happened before he can get it on? Plagues start hitting everybody. Like, what in the world is going on around here? Let's see what Pharaoh do.
And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that you have done unto me?
Right? He looking like, man, what is this foolishness you done brought to my land? Watch this.
Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is your sister?
How did Pharaoh know? Let's jump back over to 20. It's Genesis chapter 20. It's Genesis chapter 20. Give me verse 1.
And Abram journeyed from there toward the south country and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech king of Gerar sent and took Sarah. Mm-hmm. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, Behold, you are but a dead man.
Look, Most High God appears to the man in a dream by night. Right? He took Sarai, you know what I'm saying? Time to get it on. It's night, you know what I'm saying? It's time to make this thing happen. Right before it happened, guess what? You are but a dead man. In other words, you are everything except that everything has happened. Except for one thing. You die. In other words, guess what's next? You about to die. That's what he told. Most High God just showed up to him like, oh, the only thing left for you to do is die. You done did it all now. Only thing left in your life is to die. He said, you are but a dead man. In other words, you about to die, boy. Let's see how Abimelech responded to that.
For the woman which you have taken, she is a man's wife.
So that's how Pharaoh knew. Most High God talked to him. He told him, like, you messing with another man's wife right now. That's why Pharaoh came back and Pharaoh was like, look, why didn't you tell me what is this foolishness you did? Right? Watch what Abimelech respond with.
But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Lord.
He's like, man, I ain't touched that woman. That's somebody's wife. I ain't hit. I ain't do nothing. You don't know. Watch this.
And he said, Lord, will you slay also a righteous nation?
Right.
Said he not unto me, she is my sister?
Right.
Even she herself said, he is my brother.
She said what?
He is my brother.
Watch this.
In the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done this.
He said, in the integrity of my heart and the innocency of my hands have I done this. In other words, in my mind and with everything I knew, I followed the right rules. Right? Based off of the information they gave me, I ain't trying to steal nobody's wife. Why you about to kill me? I did it with the best information I had. This would be fair game if it was true. Watch this.
And God said unto him.
And he said, I didn't touch her. Let's see.
And God said unto him in a dream.
Look how God softened up.
Yes,
Look.
I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart.
Like, I like this, how I like to imagine this whole situation. Most High God pop up, you know what I'm saying? Give him a big old scary face. You are but a dead man. You know what I'm saying? Then the beam like jump up out the bed. He's like, no. He's like, what? What happened? That's another man's wife you was messing with. I didn't know that was another man's wife. I didn't touch her. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, then the Most High God come back to him. He's like, I know you didn't. You know what I'm saying? His voice softened up. I know you didn't. I said that to keep you from doing it. Watch this. Watch what he said.
Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me.
Right? I said that to keep you from doing it. That's important to know. It's important to know how God reacts to. God could have very well just said, hey, you should know this before, you know what I'm saying, you make any other decisions. She actually married to Abraham. Like, he could have just told him very calmly, like, I already know you ain't trying to do nothing, you know what I'm saying? I know what type of dude you is. You a cool dude. You ain't trying to do that stuff. So let me just let you know, because you don't have all the information. She's actually married to Abraham. You probably, you know what I'm saying? You probably want to know that before you make your next move. And he could have left it at that. That's not how he left it, right? Most High God, one of us may have chose to handle it that way, and one of us would say that's the more polite and the more advantageous way to handle it. We might think that we get further doing that, right? Let me just give you all the information, allow you to make your choice from there. To me, that seems more just, right? Not God, right? That's why I'm not the judge. Because the Most High God pop up and he say, you are but a dead man. Because he knows what it takes for each one of us to relax.
When you say that, I mean, that makes sense of what it's like to fear the Lord, to get the knowledge. So it's like they're fearing you.
It's exactly what it is. You have to fear first. You don't come to obedience unless you fear. That's why the books start off, and so much of the book is negative. It's telling you about what's going to happen to you if you don't. It's talking about curses and punishments, right? If you don't believe it, we ain't got to read it. But read Deuteronomy chapter 27 and follow it all the way through Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 27, the end of it, the middle to the end of it, all curses, right? Then you keep going in the Deuteronomy chapter 28, and then you got a couple blessings. Oh, blessings. To about maybe like the 11th verse or something like that. And then for another
2 pages.
50, you know what I'm saying, another 50-something verses, all curses. All curses. You got a couple commandments there, thou shalt not do this, that, and other. And then what you got after that? Judgments. And if you do, they shall stone your butt. Because it's important for us to know fear. So that's why it's not valid. That's why you can look at the book and know who is of the book, who's teaching according to the book. You can't be a Billy Graham and jump on TV and talk about only, God's called me to preach about the goodness of the Lord. Man had the nerve to say out his own mouth, there's other guys that'll tell you about the other stuff. I'm like, is that right?
That's crazy.
How convenient.
How convenient is that?
Yeah, no wonder why everybody like you.
Yeah, of course you're going to.
You ain't telling them the whole.
That's like you a liar.
Yeah.
You telling them that's your sister. You not giving people the full information. So now what does God have to do? If I don't have the full information because this liar came to me and said, No, God loves everybody. Right? I don't have the full information. The only way to God to get through to me, guess what he got to do? You are but a dead man. And that's what the Most High God trying to do with a lot of people in a lot of our lives. He trying to scare us. He trying to put us up against that situation. Right? And the Most High God put us in that situation. At the same time, Satan trying to tempt us even more. And we just got to have integrity and innocency of hands to be able to make the right decision in that situation. Cold part is a lot of us ain't making some of these decisions based off a lack of information. We making out of a lack of integrity. All right? Let's see. Let's keep going. Watch this.
For I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Mm-hmm. Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for you, and you shall live.
Ain't that a cold piece? This man came to my land trying to get help, right? He brought his darn wife. They the one that didn't give me the full picture and didn't give me the full story, right? And I made a decision in the innocency of my hand that was potentially going to impact them, but it didn't. You kept me from doing that. I appreciate you for it, Lord. And you mean to tell me he got to pray for me? It's important for us to understand how God works.
We gotta get clean.
I don't care how you slice it and dice it. This is my man.
And on top of that, like,
And he doing everything I told him to do. I don't care how you feel about what just happened. I didn't tell him not to lie to you. I didn't tell him not to, I didn't tell him he had to give you the full story. I never gave him that commandment. As far as he know, he just doing the best he can out here right now. Most like God, like, if I would have told him, like, nah, make sure, you know what I'm saying, just tell him that's your wife. Don't hide it. He would have did that and stood on it. Most like God know that. So he ain't worried about, he not looking at Abraham like, oh, you liar, or this, that, and other, like all these other people look at him. Most like God looking at Abraham like, that's my man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you talking about. You better tuck that stuff in, tuck in your darn lip, boy. Give him back his darn wife and, you know what I'm saying, come stand right there. Put your head darn down while he pray for you. He about to pray for you.
because not just that, like the whole, like his nation is getting struck with plague. So
Yeah, whole nation. Why? It's about to tell you, watch this. It's about to tell you what happened to his nations. That's how you know this. All this didn't occur just overnight. Like, we read it and it kind of, the way it put it, a lot of times you look at this stuff because you just reading it and the Bible don't give you all the, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times it don't tell you like, just very clearly like, oh, and 37 days passed and this is in the third month. Sometimes it do, but a lot of time for this stuff it don't. So it make you feel like, oh yeah, and one day they walked in there, they had the cattle, he took his wife, like all this stuff just happened immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, they was on top of him. As soon as he walked in, I want your wife. You know what I'm saying? That's the impression you'll get if you're not paying attention to the context. But watch the context, kind of give you a hint that all this didn't happen all at one time. Watch this.
Therefore, restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for you, and you shall live. Mm-hmm. And if you restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning and called his servants and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid. Mm-hmm. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, what have you done unto us? Mm-hmm. And what have I offended you, that you have brought on me and all my kingdom a great sin? Mm-hmm. You have done deeds unto me that ought not to be done. Mm-hmm. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what sawest thou that you have done this thing?
Abraham like, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did you see? Why you talking to me like this? Like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? Watch this.
And Abraham said, because I thought surely of the fear of God is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. Mm-hmm. And yet indeed she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father.
Now Abraham like, I didn't come. He like, I didn't lie to you now.
And she became my wife.
She my sister for real. Right? Another thing that wasn't in place at this time was no law against incest.
Right.
Right? So as far as the Most High God is looking at it, he's looking like, man, you proven if I tell you something, you'll do it. Right? Abraham just doesn't have a law to instruct him in all the minute matters.
So God looking like, since I know you're going to tell all your children to do what I say, let me go ahead and put all of these laws together for y'all to make sure y'all make it there.
That's where the laws come from. When we start getting to the laws, we'll be able to look and see, Okay, that happened. This law is to correct that. That happened. This law is to correct that. All the laws go in to correct things that we reading about right now.
It's like, since you my man, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna lace your children up real nice so that they'll know exactly what they need to do. And I don't need to be next to them like I'm next to you, right? Just a few. You know what I'm saying? You got Abraham, then you got Moses, you got David, then you get the Messiah. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he kind of streamlined it. It's like, okay, this the law. Y'all do that. I'll be back. You know what I'm saying?
Watch this. Keep going.
And it came to pass when God, wait, my bad. I forgot where I am. Okay. And yet indeed she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. Which I don't know why the Christians call them the liars, saying that, you know, she wasn't a sister, but whatever.
Because they don't read the book.
And it came to pass when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, this is thy kindness which you shall show unto me at every place where we shall come, saith me, he is my brother. And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants and gave them unto Abraham and restored him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech said, behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you. And unto Sarah he said, behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold.
Cash him out. The Pharaoh did that. We didn't read it, but the Pharaoh did the same thing. Both times cashed him out. So remember, when he came out the land, he already had cattle. He already had people with him. Right? Then he go there, his wife get caught up in the thing. Most High God put plagues on Pharaoh. They cast him out here. Take this stuff. They saying, get your butt out of here. Right? Same thing that we saw later happen when Moses took the people out of Egypt. Right? So when he was in Egypt originally, they got hit with plagues. Get your butt out of here. It's important that we see the patterns that the Most High God put forth, because he's letting us know how this is going to play out. The same way that this stuff precedes Yahushua, and we say, oh, it's talking about Yahushua, it's the same way that they can look back and be like, man, I remember when our father Abraham went into Egypt and left out, just like how Moses brought us out, right? The Most High God has these patterns, right? Okay, so then after that, he goes here to Abimelech, same rundown. He get the cattle, he get all this stuff. Get your butt out of here. Watch this though.
Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes unto all that are with thee, and with all others. Thus she was reproved. So Abraham prayed unto God, and God healed Abimelech, and his wife, and his maidservants, and they bare children.
And they did what?
Bare children.
So what does that tell us then?
You know, God put them plagues on them boys.
What else does it tell us? What type of plague did he put on them? Clearly.
They couldn't bear children.
So how would you know that in one day? You couldn't. You couldn't know that. The only way that you would feel that plague is if this happened over months and months of time. And you looking like, ain't nobody having babies? Probably years, right? It's like nobody's having babies? That's crazy. What's happening? Why can't nobody get pregnant? Most High God like, you are but a dead man. And he like, oh, got it. Understood. Go ahead and go, you know what I'm saying? Bow your darn head. He's going to pray for you. No, he got to do it. Don't you see it? Don't you say a prayer for your darn self. You better shut your darn mouth. Abraham, get over here and say this prayer. Abraham said that thing, like, you know what I'm saying? Abraham looking like, my bad, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know I was going to mess some stuff up like this, you know what I'm saying? It's that another. But like, God looking at him like, you ain't do nothing wrong. Go ahead. Go ahead, pray. You know what I'm saying? Then light that whole thing up. Keep going, watch this.
For the Lord had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to chapter 21. Watch this.
And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age. And at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac.
Isaac is born. Watch this.
And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old.
He did it on the 8th day. Where did we get that from?
Genesis, what was that, 15?
17.
17.
All right, Genesis 17. He set up a what with him?
Covenant.
A covenant. And in that covenant, he said, you know what? You're going to circumcise them boys on the 8th day. Anyone born in your house, you're going to circumcise on the 8th day. So Ishmael got circumcised on the 8th day. And now Isaac is getting circumcised on the 8th day because they were both born in this house.
But they did me wrong when TJ was born. You know what I'm saying? It was like a Saturday and they wasn't in the office. I had to get it done. I think it was like the 9th or 10th day. I was mad. Oh, I was mad. No, not TJ, Eli.
Yeah, they messed my boy up. So, you know what I'm saying? That day was a lot of time. It was like months.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, Eli, you know what I'm saying? I was mad about that thing.
Keep going. Watch this.
And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God has made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me.
Right? You remember she laughed at first, huh?
Yeah.
Most High God get the last laugh. They didn't believe, right? They didn't name it and darn claim it. But guess what? They still got something that was as good as what they wanted, right? Better than what they wanted. All right? Remember, she is settled in her mind. That's Christian stuff. That's what Christians do.
Yeah.
They start settling. They start trying to make the blessing what they want, right? So a Christian will look and be like, you know what? God told me. I just felt God speaking to me the other day that it's going to work out for me. Then they get in their car. They get in a darn car accident. You know what I'm saying? Get out, broken darn leg, show up late to work, get fired, right? Then leave from getting fired. Turns out they broke their leg and now it's infected and they on bed rest, so they can't even go look for another job, right? Do you know what's gonna happen after that? They go to the doctor in a week and the doctor cut off the cast. You know what to say? Oh, this is the blessing that God was talking to me about. My cast got cut off 2 days before it was supposed to get cut off. That is a blessing from God. So now they've rationalized all this horrible stuff, right? Originally, when they were talking about, oh, I heard God speak, they thought they were getting a new job, a new car. It turns out they got their car crashed. They didn't have no insurance to cover it, so now they gotta buy a new car out of their own pocket. They leg messed up. It's infected. Only good thing that happened is the cast got cut off 2 days early. And they make that the blessing. They change their original blessing and they'll make that the blessing. Oh, look at God. He took that cast. Won't he do it? Because they changed the goal line for the blessing for their own self-esteem. It ain't got nothing to do with anybody else. It's for their own self-esteem. To make their own self feel good, they changed the goal line for a blessing. That's Christian stuff, right? This is what Christians do with the full knowledge of the book. Abraham, and not really even Abraham, Sarai did that without any knowledge of the book. Right? Sarai just like, listen, he promised you a baby. I'll tell you what, take my, you know what I'm saying, this, that, and the other, and tried to make sense of it and make it happen where the blessing is still going to happen. Trying to please her husband. Right? That's Christian stuff. Sarah, I ain't going to say that about Sarah. Sarah, it ain't Christian stuff for her. For her, it's just, this stuff hadn't been revealed yet. She ain't got the same teaching. You know what I'm saying? We ain't nowhere near in the same spot as them.
We got the whole book.
We got the whole book. We have the whole counsel of the man. The man just told us everything. They ain't had nothing other than, hey, pick up, pack up, go this way. That's all they got. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you a kid. That's all they got. Right? But if we act like we ain't got the information, that's Christian stuff. When you get to behaving like all the information ain't been revealed to you, and pretending like you doing something for God, nah, man, that's Christian stuff, man. We ain't got time for that stuff. Keep going, watch this.
And Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born unto him, and Sarah said, God has made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. Mm-hmm. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have children, has given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. Mm-hmm. And Sarai saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking.
So now, the boy is older now. You know what I'm saying? He's old enough to be weaned. You know what I'm saying? Probably 3, 4, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? Somewhere around there, maybe even older. But he old enough to be weaned now, right? So then, at this point, she see the bondwoman Hagar, you remember Ishmael mama, and Ishmael, and he's mocking, right? Read it, watch this.
And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking.
Right? So he's older. You know what I'm saying? He's the older brother, but he's mocking him. He like grown at this point. You know what I'm saying? Close to it.
About like 17, 15,
Yeah.
16, 17.
So he mocking him. You know what I'm saying? Making fun of him like, this, that, and other. He the older brother. Messing with his little brother. Probably wasn't even nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's probably regular older brother stuff. But you remember Sarai and Hagar had that tension immediately after Hagar had that baby. You know what I'm saying? So watch what, guess what Sarah do.
Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son.
Get her out my house. Watch this.
For the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac.
He ain't even got a name. Notice that shit. The son of this bondwoman, he ain't gonna have nothing with Isaac. She say her son's name. That boy ain't even got a name to her. Get his butt out of here and cast her out with him. Ain't no way they gonna share anything with us. Right? How you think this make Abraham feel?
We're like, what you mean? That's my firstborn?
That's his firstborn son at a point where he didn't think he could have one. He wasn't sure if he could have a son. And that's his firstborn son. Watch this.
And God said unto Abraham, and the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son.
What does grievous mean?
It made him sad.
The thing made Abraham sad. Is that reasonable?
Absolutely.
Your wife started tripping out, you know what I'm saying? Your first son, it was her idea. You know what I'm saying? Like that's frustrating. It was your idea. I didn't come up with this idea. You came up with this idea. I agreed to it. We did it. It worked out just the way that we wanted it to work out. And now you mad about it. Okay, I deal with the fact you mad about it. Okay, now you have a baby. Now I got to get rid of my boy? That's sad. Book say it was grievous to him, but watch this. I love this thing, man.
And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in your sight because of the lad.
Look at what the Most High God say. Let it not be grievous in your sight. In other words, you ain't got no business being sad about that. Don't be sad. You ever had somebody tell you, don't tell me how to feel? They right to say that to us. But when God tell you how to feel, you can't do nothing but tuck that darn lip in, boy. What's wrong with you? Pick up your darn head. Don't let that thing be grievous to you. Listen, when the Most High God said, read it again, watch this.
And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in your sight because of the lad.
He said, let it not be grievous in your sight because of the lad. When the Most High God say, let it not, like for us, that might seem like a suggestion. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Don't let it make you upset. Like we might say that to comfort each other, like, oh, don't let that make you sad. But that's not the same when the Most High God say, let it not. When the Most High God say, when was the last time the Most High God said, let something?
Not that be like.
Yeah.
And what happened?
It was like.
That got that. When the Most High God say let, no, it's gonna happen. There ain't no suggestion. He's saying, no, this is what's about to happen. Like you're not about to be sad about this. Cut it out. Right? Then what he said to him after that?
And because of your bondwoman. And all that Sarah has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall your seed be called. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is your seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of the child. Right?
So she put her son, remember, he's not a baby, you know what I'm saying? But, so you have to look at the context of what's going on. They in the desert, and she thinks he's about to die. So what does it say she did with him?
And she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of the child.
So this means her son is in a state where she got to carry him and put him somewhere. He's about to die already. And she's like, I can't sit here and watch this happen. Right? So then she walk away, and they describe it as being a bow. So that's like shooting a bow and arrow in that direction. As far as that bow and arrow go, that's how far her son was. right? So he was like, man, it's about a bow shot to describe the distance she was from him so that she wouldn't be able to see him anymore because she didn't want to look at him die, right? This is a grown boy, but she had to carry him. That means she was about to die too. But watch this.
And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what ails thee, Hagar?
So the Most High God heard the voice of who?
Called to Hagar out of heaven and said,
No, whose voice?
Of the lad.
He heard the voice of the boy. So what does that mean?
So he was crying.
He crying out. He's about to die. She listening to it as a mama. You know what that's doing to her? As a mom, and she can't do nothing about it. She just got kicked out. She ain't got nowhere to go. She in the desert, right? It ain't nothing she could do. So the only thing she look at is like, we both about to die. I can't sit here and watch my baby die. That's crazy. I just can't do it. Most High God said he heard who? Did he hear her?
The voice of the lad. And
Go right before that.
And God heard the voice of the lad.
No, right before that.
And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept.
So who lifted up their voice and wept?
Hagar.
But who did the Most High God hear?
The lad.
He didn't hear her at all. He heard the one who came from the man of God. It's important that we understand how God works. We be out here just thinking, man, the way we live only impact us. Hold on, grab Ezekiel chapter 18. Give me verse 1.
Ezekiel.
Matter of fact, that ain't what I want. Grab Deuteronomy chapter, oh man. My memory failed me, man.
When he say what?
Give me 30.
What? Moses' song?
Moses what?
Moses' song?
No, not his song. 30, when he is on the mountain, see the glory of God. Was that 34, 36? Probably 34.
He was like, you can't go in.
Nah, you can't. You can see my back.
That is Exodus.
What else you say?
Deuteronomy. That's Exodus,
Exodus
30 something.
Exodus 30. I meant to say Exodus 34. I didn't say Deuteronomy. Like it's like Exodus. It's like 34 or 36. But let's start with 34, because 32. He come back down. 33. I think he start giving measurements again. And then 34. It might not be 34.
All right, it is 34.
It is 34. Give me look for what I want. I want to say verse 9.
Somewhere around there.
You know what I'm looking for, right?
Yeah. He was like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, go with us, you know what I'm saying? He was like, all right, but you can see my back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, after that though. What verse 9 say?
It says, and he said, if I have found grace in your sight, O Lord, let me, I pray thee,
Go ahead, start
let
right
my
there.
Lord go among us. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and start right there. It's gonna be a little bit of reading before I get to what I want, but this will work. This is Exodus chapter 34, verse 9. Watch what the book say.
And he said, if now I have found favor in your sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray thee, go among us. For it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for thine inheritance.
This is Moses talking to the Most High God. Watch this.
And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all your people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among which you are shall see the work of the Lord. For it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. Observe that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite and the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite.
This is all the people that we read about in our genealogies that came from Canaan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Came from Canaan and Ham. Watch this. Keep
Take
going.
heed to thyself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you go.
He said,
lest
do
it
not
be for
deal
a
with them
snare
people.
in the midst of thee.
Okay.
But you shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. For you shall worship no other God. For whose name is jealous is a jealous God. Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods. And one called thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and thy daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods. You shall make thee no molten gods. The feast of unleavened bread shall you keep. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you in the time of the month Abib. For the month Abib thou came out of Egypt. All that open the matrix is mine, and every firstling among your cattle, whether ox or sheep, that is male. But the firstling of a donkey thou shalt redeem with a lamb. And if you redeem him not, then shall you break his neck. All the firstborn of your sons you shall redeem, and none shall appear before me empty. 6 days you shall work, and on the 7th day you shall rest. In earing time and in harvest thou shalt rest. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, and the first fruit wheat's harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end. 3 times in a year shall all your men appear before the Lord God, the God of Israel. For I will cast out the nations before you and enlarge your borders. Neither shall any man desire your land when you shall go up to appear before the Lord thy God 3 times in a year.
This may not be what I want. Try 36.
I thought it was in here too.
Yeah, the way it started off, I thought it was too, but maybe it's 36.
No, this is the work of the tabernacle when Bezaleel started. I think it's like right after, it's right after Aaron did that thing.
33?
Yeah, it's right after that, because he was like, God was like, I'm about to get him. He was like, no, don't do that. And then it's like, show me your glory.
All right, let's see 33 then.
Yeah, it's 33.
33? What verse I want?
We'll do, and the Lord said to Moses, I will do this thing also that you have spoken.
All right, right there. Let's do it.
33:17.
This is Exodus chapter 33, verse 17. Watch what the book say.
And the Lord said to Moses, I will do this thing that also that you have spoken, for you have found grace in my sight, and I know you by name.
He said, I know you by name. Watch this.
And he said, I beseech thee, show me your glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of Yahuwah before you, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious.
He said, and I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious to. Watch this.
And I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy.
He said, and whoever I want to show mercy to, I'm going to show mercy to him. Watch this.
And he said, you cannot see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. And the Lord said, behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand upon a rock. And it shall come to pass, while my glory passes by, that I will put thee in the cleft of the rock, and will cover thee with my hand while I pass by. And I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. And that's the end of the chapter.
That was 17?
That was 33:17.
All right, give me before that then. Give me 33:17. Give me what verse 9 say?
And it came to pass, as Moses entered into the tabernacle, the cloudy pillar descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and the Lord talked with Moses.
Watch this.
And all the people saw the cloudy pillar stand at the tabernacle door, and all the people rose up and worshipped, every man in his tent door. And the Lord spake to Moses face to face, as a man speaks unto his friend. And he turned again to the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed out of the tabernacle.
Okay.
And Moses said unto the Lord, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. Now therefore I pray thee, if I found grace in your sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight. And consider that this nation is your people. And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give you rest. And he said unto him, if your presence go not with me, carry us not up from here. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in your sight? Is it not in that thou go with us? So shall we be separated in your people from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. And the Lord said to Moses, I will do this thing also that you have spoken, for you have found grace in my sight, and I know you by name. And he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. Is that what you look for? What you got in your head?
Give me Numbers That's 30. Go back to 34. It's Exodus chapter 34. Start me off at about verse 4.
And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning.
This is what I wanted.
And went up to Sinai.
Goodness gracious.
Why did you say that? Like, what you described was 30.
Because it's all running together in my head, I guess.
That's funny.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's all in that area. So it's all running together. This is what I want. It was the stones. That's when it was. I was thinking he said it after he said, you know what I'm saying, I'll show you my back. I thought he said it right after that, but he didn't. He said it after that, but it wasn't right after that. It was the next chapter. You know what I'm saying? All right, my fault. This is what I want.
And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up into Mount Sinai, and the Lord had commanded him, and as the Lord had commanded him, and took in his hand 2 tables of stone. And the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord.
Watch this.
And the Lord passed by before him and proclaimed.
This is what I was looking for. Because he passed by. That's the part that's in my brain. He passed by, and this is so. What we just read is him telling them, "I'm gonna show. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you my back." You know what I'm saying? Right now, this is when he actually does it. Right. So he passes by. Watch this.
Passed by before him and proclaimed, Yahuwah God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth.
What'd he do? Watch this.
Yahuwah God, merciful and gracious.
Now watch what he say.
Long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth. Keeping mercy for thousands.
He said, keeping mercy for thousands. Watch this.
Forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children to the 3rd and 4th generation.
You commit iniquity, I visit that on the children to the children's children. Right? But watch this.
And Moses made haste and bowed his head toward the earth and worshiped. And he said, if I now have found grace in your sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray thee, go among us.
Right.
It's a stiff-necked people.
So now go back. Let's read it again. Starting in baby verse what? 7? 6? 6. Watch this.
And the Lord passed by before him and proclaimed, Yahuwah God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children unto the 3rd and the 4th generation.
So if we look at that, the Most High God is letting you know, if you obey me, I keep mercy to thousands and thousands. I will take care of your generations for thousands and thousands. But if you disobey, I'm going to visit the iniquity, your iniquity, on your children to the 3rd and 4th generation. Right? That's what's important. So when we looking at Abraham, it's not just your decisions that's going to impact you, but it's your daddy decisions that's going to cause you to have iniquity visited on you. You won't be held guilty for your dad's decisions, right?
But you do have to deal with it.
But you got to deal with consequences from his decisions. But the Most High God balances that in both ways. He said, man, I'm showing mercy and forgiveness to thousands. But if you mess up, I'm going to visit that iniquity, right? So what you see is, when you see Hagar and you see Ishmael out there in that desert, right? We can go back. We see them out there in that desert. Hagar doesn't get heard. She cried. The book says she cries out, but the Most High God hears who?
The lad.
He hears the boy, because the boy, whether the boy living right or wrong, the boy is the son of the man. And just by that, the Most High God affords a certain level of grace to you and a certain level of mercy to you. Because Abraham do everything I told him. And it's grievous to Abraham. Abraham is my man. And it makes him sad that you out here. I ain't gonna do my man like that. I'm gonna take care of him. I hear you, boy. Watch this. Watch the Most High God say.
And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phishgal, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear
Abimelech,
unto me.
no. Right? Abimelech has learned at this point. Okay, got it. No, I got it. I ain't never seen nobody come in here give me half the truth. I get a plague from it, and they got to pray for me. You know what I'm saying? Abimelech looking like, look, listen, obviously God with you in everything you do. You can't do no darn wrong. You know what I'm saying? Most of God gonna take care of you, whatever you do. Watch what Abimelech, he ain't stupid. Watch what Abimelech say.
Therefore swear unto me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son. But according to the kindness that I have done unto you, you shall do unto me into the land where you have sojourned.
That's somebody who believe God. The man that God come tell you, nah, most like God said he gonna look after my people. He saw, oh, he really gave you that baby. You gotta understand, like, all this stuff is talk, right? It's like, oh yeah, most like God gonna do what for you? And most like God told me he gonna do this, but he ain't got no kids. Then all of a sudden he pop up with a kid. Oh, y'all really had that baby? That's Isaac right there? Goodness gracious. Okay, clearly, Yahuwah with you in everything you do. So I tell you what, you know what I'm saying? Because if he gave you the baby like he gonna see, like he said he gonna give you the baby, you know what else he gonna have to do then? Make him a great nation. So I tell you what, don't deal falsely with me. You know.
Remember, I looked after you.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's your wife, not your sister. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, don't deal falsely with me. And your kids, because I know what's about to happen because the Most High God fulfilled that part. I know what he about to do for you. And your kids, you know what I'm saying? Don't let them deal falsely with my kids. We ought to be a happy family. Right? Watch this.
And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who hath done this thing, neither did you tell me, neither yet heard I of it but today.
You understand what just happened?
He was like, all right, so if we good, then some of your boys, you know what I'm saying, taking over my way.
Exactly. Right?
Oh, so we said
Abimelech came to him like, don't deal falsely with me now. I'm going to treat you right. You remember what, you know what I'm saying? You remember at first you said, okay, we passed that. All right, so don't do that no more. And we good, right? I'm going to keep on, you know what I'm saying, being honest with you. I hook you up, we good. But then also your kids, man, you know what I'm saying? Make sure your kids, you know what I'm saying, treat my people good. You know what I'm saying? I want us to be good always. Abraham was like, all right, for sure. But I'll tell you what.
some of them boys of yours.
Some of your young boys, you know what I'm saying, violently took away my darn well. You know what I'm saying? All that deal falsely stuff, you know what I'm saying? Now, that wasn't part of the conversation then. People are like, listen, I want not. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I have no idea who did that. They ain't got nothing to, listen, watch this. I'll let them talk.
And Abimelech said, I wot not who hath done this thing.
In other words, I don't know who did that thing. Watch this.
Neither did you tell me, neither yet I heard of it.
Right? He said, ain't nobody. You gotta understand how this conversation, cause he's scared. The Most High God with you, man. Dang it, man. Look. I don't know who did that. You didn't tell me about it. I ain't heard about it from somebody else. This thing ain't got nothing to do with nothing I knew about, right? Watch it.
Yet heard I nothing of it but today.
He said, the first time I heard of this was today. You know what I'm saying? That boy, look, he trying to stay out of Dodge. Please believe me. Watch this.
And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what do these mean, these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shall you take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Phishgal, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. And well, we already know what happened in David's day.
Yeah, this is the foundation for it all. Let's keep going. It's chapter 22.
They always fought over that thing. You know what I'm saying? We would take their land, they would take it back, and we would take it, and they take it back.
But it was some tumultuous times there.
Yeah.
It's Genesis chapter 22. Watch this.
And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and get into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went into the place which God had told him.
So understand what just happened. Most High God gave him his son through Ishmael. Then the Most High God gave him another son through Sarah, being Isaac. Then the Most High God told him, go ahead and listen to your wife, send your other son away. He don't know what's going on with his son. It ain't like they got cell phones where he can call him and text him and check up on him. His son gone, right? So now he only has this one son as far as he knows, right? So far as he's concerned. It's my son, right? So I got this one son that I'm dealing with. And then the Most High God pop up after giving me this son in a way that's miraculous. And he tells me, rise up. Take your boy. About to do a sacrifice. Watch this.
Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide here with the donkey, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together.
All right, so he made Isaac carry all the wood. He laid it on him, right? Made him carry all the wood. So that's how you know he ain't no baby, right? So there's a big boy. It's a grown boy at this point. Right? So he carrying the wood. He got a knife. You know what I'm saying? He got some fire, and he carrying it up the path, right? Up the mountain. Watch this.
And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said,
Look, Isaac ain't stupid. Watch what Isaac say.
My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?
He's like, look, we pretty much got everything we need except for a lamb. That's interesting, Pop. You know what I'm saying? Like we got the most of it, just no lamb. Where's the lamb at? Watch what Abraham say.
And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering.
Goodness gracious. Right? We look at this, remember, all this is talking about Yahushua. We ain't even been talking about all the stuff so far that's been talking about Yahushua.
I mean, my man's
right?
sacrifice is carrying the wood up to the mountain.
Yeah, he's the sacrifice. Most High, look. Most High God gonna provide the lamb.
Yahushua had to carry the wood.
All right? And guess where they at?
Mount Moriah.
Guess where Yahushua was?
Mount Moriah.
Same place.
David worshiped there too.
Same place.
The son of man.
Right? This is the same place. Even if you go back, right? If you look at Abraham, he told Sarah, he was like, call me your brother. For what reason?
To save my life. And that's what we say. Hey, Yahushua, hey, just tell God we brothers.
All right? The prophecy says that Yahushua have to proclaim that he is our brother. Right?
I'm not ashamed to call him brother. Then you got Song
and
of
then
Solomon.
he dies for our sake.
Then you got Song of Solomon, my sister, my spouse. You know what I'm saying? The wedding. Right? The marriage supper, the feast.
The whole book talking about him.
Man.
All right, keep going. Watch this.
And Isaac said and Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And they came to the place which God had told of him. And Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
Tied him up.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that you fear God, seeing thou hast not withheld your son, your only son, from me.
You have to understand what's happening. We take it all the way back to Abel. Abel offered up of his flock. Most High God said, oh, I like that. Now that's a good idea. I like that. Right? So then we start to see sacrifices after that of animals. You don't see, up to this point, we haven't seen no grain sacrifices and all this stuff. We get to that in the law, right? Because all that's good too. Like what Cain did was cool too. But what Abel did, goodness great, now we can do something with that. I can build a whole plan around that, right? That's the Most High God looking at. So you start to see animal sacrifices from Noah and on, right? Then we get to a point where you got this man that do everything I tell him to do. And I give him his pride and joy. Give him this promise. This is what this man wanted this whole time. I wonder if he'd give it up for me. Right? And the man is to the point that he would give up his son. This is something else that the Most High God look at and say, I like that. I like that idea. I can build something around that.
God ain't never asked us to do what he didn't already do himself.
So he said, you know what? Stop. You don't even need to do that.
I'll take care of that part.
I'll take it from here. Right? You're doing it all wrong anyway. I'm going to show you how to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you the right way. I'll make it cool. You know what I'm saying? Darken up the sky. You know what I'm saying? It's totally wrong. You know what I'm saying? Totally wrong. You know what I'm saying? Right? So he told him, stop. He said, at this point now I know that you'll do anything I say. Keep on. Watch this.
And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in the thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son.
Right.
Abraham called the name of that place Yahuwah-Yireh, as it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen.
All right, the Most High God provided the sacrifice, just like he provided the sacrifice of his son, Yahushua. All right, who we got there? Or no, actually, keep going. Watch this.
And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time and said, By myself have I sworn, says Yahuwah, for because you have done this thing and has not withheld your son, your only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and your seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice.
Because what?
You have obeyed my voice.
Because what?
You have obeyed my voice.
That got that. No matter what Christians try to do, it always comes back to obedience, right? It's James chapter 2. Give me James chapter 2. Drop me on down to about verse. What's the last verse? I probably want like verse 19. Last verse is what, like 20 something?
You said James?
Yeah, James chapter 2.
My brethren, have not the faith of our Lord Yahushua, the Lord of glory, with respect of persons.
What verse is that?
1.
No. Jump me down to about verse 14. There's James chapter 2, verse 14. Watch what the book say.
What does it profit, my brother, though a man say he has faith and have not works?
Drop me down to about, that's good too, you know what I'm saying? But drop me down to about verse that's 14. Give me verse
18.
Yeah, maybe 18.
Yea, a man may say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works.
That's right, right? So that's what Abraham did. Abraham was always working. He was always doing what the Most High God told him to do. That's what it means by works, right? He always had actions that were consistent with what the Most High God told him to do, right? Keep going, watch this.
You believe that there is one God, you do well. The devils also believe and tremble. But will you know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he had offered Isaac his son up on the altar?
Right? So he was justified in that the Most High God came to him and said, listen, man, I know you're going to obey. That was him being justified by God. Watch this. Keep going.
Seest thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect? And the scripture was fulfilled, which says, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness.
So that was said way back in Genesis 15. So now, when the Most High God gave him a credit for righteousness, he said, okay, you believe me, so I'm going to give you credit, right? You starting to obey me, I'm going to give you some credit because, you know what I'm saying, we'll see how far this go, right? Then he have all the stuff in the middle where the Most High God was like, yeah, I know you're going to look after your people and tell them to do what I say. All this stuff is credit, right? Then at the end, he put him to that ultimate spot, and he like, oh, no, you the real deal. That's when it's like, you're justified, right? So that's what James trying to explain right now. Keep going.
And the scripture was fulfilled, which says, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness. And he was called the friend of God. You see then how that by works a man is justified and not by faith only. Right?
By works a man is justified and not by faith only. We see that in the life of Abraham. It's important, man. This is why these people this is why Satan get these people to throw the front of the book out. Because the examples that really make this stuff clear is here. Right? It's just we don't learn this stuff. Nobody teaches us this so where we can see it and really understand it and see it for what it is. When people teach it to us, they just cherry pick and get what they want. Yeah, see, Abraham had faith, right? And they separate faith and works. Faith ain't got nothing to do with anything, nothing that you can do, all this Christian stuff these people be talking about. You can't have faith without works. It comes down to how you obey God. When Most High God tell you to move, you got to move. You got to do it the way he tell you to do it. And I'm not talking about somebody whispering in your darn ear in your sleep. I'm talking about opening up the book.
Abraham was different.
Oh, no.
They had a book. So he just heard the word of the
That
Lord
man just
and
moved.
did it.
That man was a prophet.
Yep.
That man was a prophet. That's different. But we guys open up this book, right? Even the Most High God do speak to you, you better open up the book and make sure it's him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can guarantee none of these men that the Most High God spoke to just came out of nowhere, right? They all had stories handed down to them about God. They had some type of knowledge of God. It's important to do that. It's important to know, right? Finish it. Let's jump back over to chapter 22, Genesis chapter 22, and finish that one out. Give me a little sleep. Here's Genesis chapter 22.
18.
It's verse 18.
And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed because you have obeyed my voice.
Because what?
You have obeyed my voice.
Got that, man.
So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she has also bore children unto your brother Nahor, Huz his firstborn, and Booz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Aram. And she said, and Hazo, and Fildash, and Jilpah, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begot Rebekah, and these 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Reumah, she bare also Teba, and Gaham, and Tahash, and Maacah. And that's it.
What did we just read, that last piece?
Nahor's genealogy.
Right?
Which is
Remember, we
Abraham's
started this out talking about this is the book of generations,
Which
the
is
book of genealogies. And every time we read about a genealogy, what is it doing? What's the purpose of it?
To get us to Moses for right now, which then will get us to David, which then will get us to Yahushua.
So the genealogy that we read in here in Genesis just take us a little bit further, kind of introduce new characters for what's about to happen next.
So they mention Rebecca here, and that is going to be the wife of Isaac.
Right? So when we go on, it's talking about, it's going to be a context where they like, no, you got to marry somebody of your people. Let me send my servant over here. That's why we brought that in here, because it's like, oh, you got to know that I'm about to talk about, this is Moses trying to put it together. Like, I'm about to tell you next about what happens with Isaac. But before I get there, let me explain some things. Remember, I told you way back in Genesis chapter 11 that Abraham had an uncle or had a father, and his father had multiple kids and all this stuff. And then you got Lot, and Lot daddy is this person, this third. Okay, well, there's some other things that happen in that direction. Let me tell you more about them. Right? Nahor had this and this, that, and the other, and that ended up being Rebecca and Laban. So now we're going to learn about all these different people. Right? All right. We'll talk about it next week. This is the two families. All of it's real close, though. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to learn about Isaac and see where it go from there. Any questions? All right, well, let's pray.